Hey everyone, welcome to your BTC SOL update for today. All right, let's start with liquidity. So on the 1 day, the liquidity is definitely to the downside on both BTC and on SOL. So if they were to spike to the upside, they would look to probably take something around that 112, 113 area. And to the downside, we've still got plenty of liquidity sitting down there at 107. If we look at SOL on the 1 day, they could easily pump it up to sort of around that 213. And to the downside, we've still got those 190 sort of areas in play. If we have a look at the 7 day, so the 7 day shows a little bit higher, so 115, 116 on BTC, and then down to sort of like 103, 104 level. But there isn't really that much below 105, so they haven't really managed to get a lot of that built up yet. If we look at SOL, then that would mean sort of pushing to the first group of liquidity is around that 213, 214, and then maybe a push up into the 220s to take out the top side, and down as far as sort of about 189 to the bottom. And if we look at the 30-day liquidity, the 30-day liquidity has gone a bit funny again on BTC versus SOL, so it's showing that people are more bullish on SOL again. It doesn't take much for SOL just to move up a little bit, and suddenly all the longs pile in, which is why it's a little bit hard for it to go up. So BTC, if they were to do a sweep, it could go all the way up to sort of like the 120 area, which is confluent with things like some of the high time frame origin levels that need to be tested and potentially give their first rejections. And to the downside, sort of around that 104, 105 area still. With SOL, nothing much really changes. So to the upside, even on the 30-day, it's still sort of that 213 to 220s. But to the downside, when we look at the 30-day, then there's the ability for it to extend past that 189 area and go all the way down to the 170s. But as it stands, it looks like they would be better to push BTC up and SOL down if they wanted to grab the liquidity, which is can happen, but it's going out of sync is not really what we want. We like these things to stay together. So having a look at the short-term liquidity, BTC up to about 115k and down to about 103. It's just gone through a little bit of a move, and it should be rejecting off that sort of 111 area, which appears to be the case at the moment. As far as SOL goes, we had that resistance at 207, which we've finally hit, and it's bounced around up there for a little bit, and now it's going, or it looks like it's at least going to pull back. And I think there was like a 2-hour level up there, there's a 4-day level up around there, there's a few levels around there that sort of lead back to 203 to 199, so it's just going through that little bit of a pullback. The interesting thing today, which will really signify intent, will be whether or not they close above hold levels and then go down, or whether they go down before daily close, which is typically the trick. It's make it look really bullish, bring in the longs, and then just in the last hour, half hour of the day, push the price down to eliminate any of the support that people sort of thought was forming. So yeah, a lot can change in 2 hours. We've seen that this week, and we might be looking at another trap, or we might actually close above some of that higher time frame support. So let's have a look at these charts. So first, SOL BTC Strength, and this is what I mean. We've bounced off that trend that we created. We are actually below it, and we've gone back above it. So this is quite bullish at the moment, and we're going to bring in a hold level on the daily around the 180, so is it 18536 area. So really what we're watching for is to see whether they push the price down below that and stop that hold level. Now, if they create that hold level, then the chances are it'll bounce to try and attack the exterior trend again. And certainly the close will be back up inside the new interior. So this can flip from bullish to bearish just simply by moving below that line. Certainly because it has come from the wrong side of the trend, we really need it to close up in here if we want to keep that bullish momentum or strength pouring into SOL on the daily. Okay, let's have a look at our risk assets. So risk assets have retested the backside of the range again. They're pulling back from that, so not much to be said here. That's a 3-day candle, so it doesn't close for a couple of days. I'll just quickly check that on the daily. So all we've really got is a whole bunch of consolidation on the daily. Our daily range retest is up a little higher at 65.32. So, but actually there is also that daily range that it's just pushed against now, which is 65.01. So if we close under the 65.01, then we could see a pushback to trend, and that would be bullish for alts to have a little bit of a run up. But still, it's odd not to have retested the backside of this hard close daily range at 65.32, and we've got that hold level there. And based on the candle structure, we've almost certainly had a trend break. So really, if it closes below that 65 level, we could get a dip back. So that's a temporary little bullish pump in alts, but then really we should be testing these two upper levels. So it doesn't look like it's really over at this stage for the dip. It might be a little bit more of just a daily relief or a couple day relief. Looking at the totals, we're back up above the interior trend. We tested that hold level at the upper level. So everything we said yesterday, we've done. We moved the trend, we bounced off the trend, we tested the hold level, we've hit the exterior trend, and now we're retracing back down. So if we can stay above this level here at 347, then we are opening above a break level, so that'd be bullish to push the market up. If it pulls down below that, then the next level down, we've got this hold level all the way down here at about 339. So we are still building support, which is the good thing. So even if we were to dip back to this 339 level, it would give us another pump up to the trend. But as it currently stands, we're opening above the support trend. We are opening above the downtrend. We are sitting just above a break level. We've already tested the hold level. Really, it just needs one more day of accumulation candle, and it can break out of this entire downtrend. So, so we might see a bit of stuffing around in the next day, but it's looking good to find its way out of the downtrend. So let's have a look at BTC. So BTC has bounced off the trend and gone to the hold. So this is exactly what we were saying yesterday. We moved the trend, we bounced, we got back above the trend, we created a hold level, we bounced off the trend, and we've targeted the hold level. So not much else to be said there. We're going to reject off that hold level, which is the pullback that's happening now. Really, it comes down to how that pullback is managed. If it can stay where it is for the next hour and 48 minutes, then it will be above the downtrend. That will give it the ability to try to do one more day in accumulation. It probably won't though. Like it's more likely we get a pullback just to retest the back of the trend. We still have this uptrend support that we've bounced off, so yeah, it's looking strong, but a rejection off the I'll just see what the fib level is on that. A rejection back to 109.838 would be totally normal. Anything further would be also fine, because the fib will be the minimum rejection level, but then it has to find some kind of support. There is a heap of support in this area though, all this older stuff from all the way back here, so hence the amount of lines. Anything in there could actually offer support to that price, but it's assuming that most of this has already been used by the candles as they move down, a pullback to any of the trends on the daily would be the most likely. So, but as far as structure goes, this is nearly exactly what we want. We've got 5 trend breaks. So we've got 1 and yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, not quite. So we're still looking maybe one more accumulation candle. So if we do get a little bit of a pullback to trend and then another day to the upside, then that gives us all of the structure that we need there. Let's have a look. 2-day rejection, that's just that's not a close today, but that's just something we said would happen yesterday. Okay, so 4-day still has 3 days to go, hasn't performed its range retest, so that would be up to that 112 area. So we might still get that push up to there. That hasn't completed. Okay, 5-day is a close today, and 5-day as it currently stands will be a hard close of the upper range. So it will also be below this range trend. So what that should mean is the next candle should pop up and retest that 112,600 level. So that's actually confluent with if we rewind to the 4-day there, where the 4-day is going through the motion anyway. It's bounced off the range trend. It's heading up to retest the backside of the broken range. The 5-day is potentially going to open today below that. Although that is a trend dive, so in the next hour and 45 minutes, there's nothing to stop that pulling back up. It's not hard closed until it closes. So this will also move the support trend. So this support trend that's coming all the way from March is going to relocate to down here. So this gives us another opportunity to long a trend. So if we dip back down there, we can long that and we can take it back up to any of these horizontal levels up above. So, and in actual fact, maybe it closes and goes to that first and then comes back up to do that retest, because we've got 3 days to go on that 4-day and there'll be 5 days to go on this. So nothing stops it behaving like that, down first, then up. But just remember there will be a trade on that. So it may even go up here to retest the backside of the broken trend. So once that gets broken, a retest of the backside is not a promise, because retests aren't always performed, but it's but you can see the scope of the move that will come into play based on that. So we've got a 7-day close today. 7-day is thankfully crept back up inside of its trend. It's crept back up inside of its range trend. So this is good. We haven't hit the hold level down here at that 106 area, and nothing stops them just creeping back up here and then doing a dive down. But as it currently stands, it's holding support. The next candle is going to open pretty much on the trend if it opens there. And there's no real hold levels, but there is an origin level at 120. So if this thing creeps back up above the trend that rejected it, which is about that 112 area, so you can see the 112,600 number just keeps coming in as confluence for resistance, whether it's trends or hold levels, different time frames, it's the number. So if it can get above that resistance and back up over that trend, then it can target that 120 area. If it goes and targets that 120 area without proper process, then the rejection could be quite violent and all the way back down to below where it is now. So that's worth keeping an eye on that. The 35-day didn't quite touch its hold level. It's still under its trend. It's going to open under that trend from the looks of it, unless it gets back up over 113 before the end of the day. So this is where we start to see there's this 114 level that might come into play. The 114 level would be a trend rejection from the backside of this trend that it's just pulled back under, and the target would be the 106 800 hold level, which would roughly be confluent with the other trend, the support trend that's running through here. Now, if it chooses to go down first, then that's just a long back to the trend. So we are looking bullish, but it looks sneaky bullish, to be honest. So the 49-day, these are the real big ones, and if we're going to get some bad news this week, this is it. Yeah, this is the move that'll play out. So it's got the trend up there at about 119, 120, and it's got the hold level down there at 95. So we've pulled back under the trend. If we go down and hit this at 95, we will go back up to that. If we go up first and hit that, then we could come all the way down to the that 95 area. So ones like this are a bit tricky. It is going to create this new interior today, and so as you can see from where the candle is, if it closes at this level, the corner of the candle is sitting just on the wrong side of the new uptrend. So yeah, any kind of rejection off the backside of that trend or higher could initiate a move down. And if we look to see where our previous trend was on this, it's probably quite low. So it was there, came to there, came to there. Yeah, it's really low. So I don't think we're coming all the way back down to there because we've got too many support trends and we've got a hold level. But this is the kind of structure that you would see appearing before suddenly some, grey swan, black swan event, some news that, quote unquote, nobody saw coming, but the chart already told you it was there. So yeah, just play safe. Just remember that, we're one rejection away and one bad news tweet away from being able to come down to those sort of levels. And all these influencers online right now are screaming that the bottom is in. And I think the bottom is not in, but I just don't know whether we're going there yet. Okay. Let's have a look at SOL. So SOL is playing very bullish. It's poked its head back up above the daily downtrend. So this is looking very strong. If it closes at this level, although it's run into a bunch of resistance around here, it's trying to do everything possible to stay above support and try and push through that resistance. So we have an origin rejection level that has already rejected at about 210. We've got a break level on a different time frame around 213. Most of the targets on SOL are pointing into that 240s area, but will we have another dip? Well, we will have another dip if Bitcoin has another dip. It's just how deep will that dip be? So getting back up above the range trend that we haven't hard closed means we have support everywhere at the moment from sort of 206 down. We have another hold level that we're going to form today, which is going to be at 200, and that could provide support. We've done a retest of some of these bottom areas, so they're pretty good now. We've done that retest of 195. And it looks like we're back up inside the range trend, which is around that 195. So from a daily perspective, SOL just is either plain really bullish, and it can easily pull back under these levels in the next hour and 38 minutes. But if it was to close at these levels and BTC has a pullback, then all SOL's going to do is skyrocket when BTC finds support and starts going up, because it'll just come all the way back up above these levels to begin with and then just keep pushing. So it's looking really, really bullish once again, which is, yeah. And as far as untested hold levels, our first high time frame untested hold level is up at 228. So if you were spot, if you were looking at things like spot, you would potentially be looking at that as a target area that maybe you'll get some kind of decent retracement. But yeah, as it currently stands, if we break out of this trend, then the exterior trend is up at about 240. So it's looking like it really wants to get up to those 240s. Okay, let's have a look at the 5-day. So 5-day is going to open on the wrong side of trend. It's still under that 5-day trend, which is sitting up at about 215. What are we? Are we hard closing anything much today? We did hard close. We've retested the hard close of that 295 area. So this was our break level here. the last candle that closed on the 5-day did the hard close. This candle's come back down and it's done the retest and it's bouncing back up. So there is a very slight discrepancy down here where the candle that performed the hard close of a few different levels. Now, one of them, in fact, two of them have not actually been retested. So one of them is 184.827 and the other one is 179.856. So it's slightly sneaky. It came through the retest of the 195 and almost got to those other levels, but didn't quite. So yeah, it has been a little sneaky. I would say that if we do get some kind of unknown event, those levels are definitely levels that have been left there with those tiny little gaps in the retest to be going back to. Right, 7-day. So 7-day is right on the line. The trends are really messy on the 7-day, but the horizontal levels are clean. So on the 7-day, it looks like we're going to close above our downtrend. So that gives us support at about 199. We're going to close above our range trend, so that's supported about 196, 197. We may even hard close the break, or sorry, not hard close. We may even close above the break level, which gives us support at 205. And remember that the really high time frame break levels are actually like 179 and 204s. So we're already starting to close some pretty good sized candles that are poking their head above those, which is very positive. Although we are going to kind of open on the wrong side, and unless we can push up just a couple of dollars more, we are going to open on the wrong side of the trend support, which is not lost because all these candles have just been on the wrong side of the trend support and they've just been clinging to it the whole way up. And we do have a 7-day hold level down here at 191 to attack the trend again if we have to dive. And if you do dive a trend from say the top side and you hit a hold level, you tend to bounce back up at least above the trend. So there's there's another trade in there that could come about anytime. And the 35-day is up above one of the older trends. It's already a hard close trend, so it's a support trend. It's up above the interior trends. It's going to be on the wrong side of one of the older hard closed trends. So, and what do we got? We've got a break level up at about 140. It's actually a break origin level up around 146, and we've got our topside trend sitting up around sorry, did I say? About 246, and we've got our topside trend at about 266. So from this time frame is looking pretty bullish. Really, we're going to end up with support in those same type of areas. So 191, 189-ish, 180. So that's looking bullish. We're going to get a new 49-day hold level. In actual fact, we're going to get a 49-day trend break today, that's big. So the target for that would be the break level here at 237.5. We're going to have a hold level down here at 176.622. So that's just a no-brainer if we get a dive. We're going to move our trend to the top side. So this is good and bad. And it's kind of putting the price into a bit of a limbo state, really, because the interior trend will shift to the upside. And that can now create a rejection, which can take us down to that 176 area. But we're also closing above a higher time frame break level. And it's not a hard close, but it is going to offer some form of support somewhere around that 188.786 area. And we know we've got things like a 4-month hold level sitting at 189. So this could be one of those moves where it rejects off the backside of the trend and does a dive, but never actually makes it to the hold level, because there is a whole bunch of stuff in between these two lines which could offer the support required to break the trend. And once you break a trend, as we are today, it's sort of inevitable that you're going to go up. It's just the wick determines whether you have to jump through some other hoops first. So if there's no wick on the top of this candle, so if we do close at like 117, sorry, I keep saying the wrong numbers, 217 or thereabouts today, which is unlikely, but could happen. If we do and there's no wick, then the trend moves, the candle opens on the top side, and we just go straight up to the break target. If we open as we are now, then we break the trend, but we can hit the new trend, and then we can have some kind of pullback to find support to break the trend again, to push up through the trend. And that's why you'll see price deviate or push through trends and then retrace back again, because it finds some kind of support at a higher time frame that exists in this gap. It pushes through the trend because its target is the break level at 237, and then it hits that, it's achieved its goal, and then the trend pulls it back again and it goes down from there. So it's looking basically like we have a pretty decent range that just keeps on moving to the upside. So we know we've got these 247 targets, they're in play. We also now know that we've got 237 targets that are going to be stepping stones along the way. And to the downside, we've just got more and more support building, so it's looking pretty cool. That's about it for SOL. That's it for BTC. Like and subscribe, and I'm sorry I keep stuffing up the numbers. They seem to be right in my head, but it just seems to be difficult verbalizing them. The SUI trades are still going good. I managed to exit some when we retested the backside of the trends, and I re-entered it lower, and so I've taken a couple of partial TPs and compounded the money along the way. Still aiming for that $3.40 mark for SUI to run into the 5-day resistance. And there's a few other trades popping up all over the place, like ENA you should probably have a look at. If it retests the backside of any of the monthlies, then that's going to be a really good move up over $1. You could swing trade it from the point it's at now, because it has landed on and found support on a range trend, a high time frame range trend. So it might already be going to $1, but no harm to wait and see if you can get a greedy entry on it and take it up from 55 cents all the way up to $1 something, $1.07. So yeah, there's a few good trades sort of popping up, but just don't get too over leveraged, because we still are in a situation where we could see a very sneaky dump. Everyone would accept it because they'd just be like, oh yeah, it's September narrative, Rectember, blah, blah, blah. So the structure is there to do a dump. So don't get too over leveraged. Make sure you've got a few layers. So know your support layers on the way down. Have your positions as such that you can definitely, like on your swing trades, have it so you can definitely add at the right prices, not just add for the sake of adding. That you don't just double down when some influencer says it's time to double down. Every one of these trades needs to be some kind of structural trade that exists within the bigger structure. So if you're taking something on a weekly and it starts to go against you, you need to know what the daily is inside the weekly. You need to know what the 4 hour is inside the daily, and then you can treat everyone like its own little trade to actually either compound your money or get your position better. And don't be afraid to take partial losses on a trade within a trade, if it means that you end up with overall a better position long term. So yeah, take care, trade well, like, subscribe, all that stuff. 385 subscribers, so the goal is 500, and then after that we'll just raise the bar anyway, because that's how it is. And yeah, we'll catch you again. Cheers, bye.